Pop Culture Pastor.
So, Cody, how was your 4th of July?
It was good. I had some family in town. I had one of my friends over. We played cornhole.
Okay.
That's the thing.
Yeah. I wish we called it like bags or something, or
Beanbag toss.
just anything else. Cornhole sounds awful.
Although my friend won these at a horse show in Nebraska, and it said something about corn huskers on it. And so I was okay calling it cornhole at that moment.
Do the horses play cornhole?
I like to think so.
Yeah. We did the the obligatory normal stuff. We ate food. We had family over. I grilled some hamburgers and hot dogs for everybody, and we had the side fixins, and then we blew up some fireworks. I must say the fireworks thing. Let's see if you feel the same way I do here, Cody. When I was young, I was totally into fireworks because all kids are, and I was totally into it. And then as a teenager and a young adult, I couldn't wait to spend all my money on them, and I usually did. But I find as I get older, I don't know. You tell me. Am I getting grumpy? Am I getting grumpy old manish? Because I don't want to. I bought my kids some fireworks. I did, but I just don't see the point of buying a whole bunch of them. Because look, you walk outside the evening of July 4th, and they're just everywhere. Everybody's lighting off fireworks. You're really paying for the right to light them? I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting grouchy. I just don't. They're so expensive.
The evening of July 3rd, I rode my bike around town for the exercise, as kids say. I felt like I was in Apocalypse Now. Like the smell of gunpowder was so thick in the air, and it was so smoky and hazy. As an adult, and especially one that works in mental health, I do have more issues with it than I did as a kid or a young adult. Just knowing several kids that have auditory sensory needs, and adults, especially veterans with PTSD, and sometimes those sounds are triggering. And literally someone close to our neighborhood had fireworks that would shake my whole house. I feel drone show is the way to go.
I haven't stopped picturing you riding around in a jungle landscape, occasionally stopping your bike to go, I love the smell of napalm in the morning. Oh, look, it's scooters. But as usual, I think adulting kind of ruins something for you. And in this case, it's fireworks. Because first and foremost, we live in an area of our state that is, there's a lot of people in poverty.
Mm-hmm.
And you just know there's a lot of people who are spending money they probably shouldn't on these fireworks. And look, it's a happy time. I hate being this way. I don't want to think about this, but it's almost impossible for me not to, because I can afford fireworks. I just don't want to buy that many because I just feel like it's a waste.
So I've known families that would be near the poverty line or at it and spend $2,000 to $3,000 on this holiday.
Gosh, I feel like a giant fuddy-duddy even saying it.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely justify some fireworks to an extent, just because, especially if you have kids that enjoy shooting them off, you get to see their smiling, happy faces and the joy in creating memories. And for me, the 4th is better served now as an adult as a time for family gathering and cookouts and those sorts of things. So we live close to the Legion. Legion did a fireworks show. Watching that with the friends and family was nice. And it was like the right amount of time. It wasn't too long. And I was like, okay, this is great. We can call it a night. Now, the rest of the neighborhood did not agree and kept going.
Yeah, my family was in bed by 10 o'clock, 10:30-ish. And maybe some people think that's way too early, but my kids were spent. My kids were ready for bed, and I was ready for bed. But the fireworks. So there's the money piece, which I feel like a grumpy old man. The next part, I don't feel like a grumpy old man because on some level, here's what I bought my kids. I bought my kids sparklers, snakes, and then the little cheap stuff that they like the planes that spin around and go up a little bit, parachutes.
Parachutes are still fun as an adult.
Yeah, I dig the parachute. And then, a couple of the rockets, and I bought one big $35 box.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I bought one of those. So I spent under $100. And I got a big bag. It was a big bag of stuff. But here's the part number 2, why the fireworks are a problem for me. My kids are old enough where they want to light stuff, and I let them. And frankly, I'm just like, hey, how do we get through this without getting anyone injured?
And that is a serious thing that I think occurs every 4th of July that we have.
Even kids running away, like the amount of time my kids nearly fell over because they were scrambling so hard to get away from the fireworks, and they're wearing flip-flops and everything else, and just other injuries happen.
And running with a punk.
So one of my daughters got burned because someone ran into her with a punk. So you're just trying to make it through without something like this happening. Because I woke up this morning, and one of the first articles I see is this. A man had his hand blown off in a South Florida fireworks accident. It's always Florida. But I guarantee this happened elsewhere.
Oh, yeah.
People in our small town, someone lost a finger last night. Guaranteed.
Just remember famous athletes such as Jason Pierre-Paul. He lost 3 fingers or parts of 3 fingers.
And why? Because they're holding the firework and lighting it in their hand and then trying to throw it, I guess. I mean, I used to do that when I was a kid, and I probably shouldn't have, because some of those fuses go faster than others.
Oh, yeah.
Although nowadays they all seem to have those green fuses, which are pretty steady, pretty consistent time-wise. They used to, back in the day, they had the gray ones that were soaked in gunpowder.
Yes.
They just go, it's all gone. But this guy in South Florida lost his hand. And frankly, every time I hear one of those loud booms, the ones I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The ones that, all day, periodically, you hear this, and it's genuinely mistaken for thunder sometimes in my house. I think, boy, I hope nobody was too close to that. Because it happens. There are probably some people who are. And those are the ones that are illegal too, right? Those aren't getting sold. Someone's making those.
I mean, your typical artillery shell does not make, it makes a loud boom, but it's not going to be confused with that someone just light off some dynamite right outside my front door.
Yeah, it's the kind of boom left a crater. All right, the third reason, and this is going to complete the trifecta of grumpy old Dave. This one is I don't really have an excuse for, and I understand is going to be very, very privileged American.
Okay.
I don't like being outside, Cody, for that long. It's hot. It was hot yesterday. There were bugs because it's Kansas.
I feel like this should only be a holiday north of Nebraska because it is too hot.
Seriously. By 7:00 last night, I just was thinking to myself, I just don't want to be outside anymore. In fact, I just wanted to take a shower and go to bed.
Yeah.
But because I'd been outside. Now, listen, I'd been grilling. I cleaned my grill after we ate, so I had to go back outside and cleaning. I have a Blackstone, the griddle, and so you have to kind of turn it back on to get it up to heat again. That's the best way to clean it and get it ready for the next time. And so I just felt, when you grill, so it's hot and I feel greasy. I feel like grease was all over me. It was just awful. I felt awful. The bugs are always terrible. And I felt this the last few fourths where at some point, I just feel like, why are we outside? This holiday, if the founding fathers would have been thinking, they would have declared independence in November.
What were you doing, Ben Franklin and Tom Jefferson?
Well, they certainly weren't roasting outside, I guess. Although, they were probably used to being hot. wearing those coats.
And the wigs. So I really think that if the city was to do a drone show, because I'm still on the drone show idea, I think it would draw in people from outside town because it's something very different.
Now, how much does a drone show cost?
I don't know, but Kaufman does it. Arrowhead does it.
You're not helping me think it's cheap.
I will say that the students at Humboldt Middle School got to program a bunch of drones and like spell out K-State, but K-State like sponsored it.
Yeah.
So,
well, there's no noise to it.
yeah, no noise. You get cool lights. I saw a drone show that did the Star Trek Enterprise, like jumping through space and then doing a 360. That was cool.
Okay, I'm here for it, but you got to pump in some music. It's a little "God Bless America," little Lee Greenwood for the kids.
I don't know if you need it.
How dare you, sir? How dare you? At least the Lee Greenwood. So yesterday, Cody, as we sit here, it's the day after the 4th of July. Yesterday,
Woohoo! America.
Yes. Yesterday morning, I turned on my television.
Okay.
ESPN, the Ocho. Now, I don't know which one it was. It was ESPN. On comes the Nathan's Hot Dog, famous 4th of July hot dog eating contest. Are you familiar with this?
Oh, yes. So back in the day, I had mastered the chestnut shuffle because it helps you settle your food down. You'll notice when Joey Chestnut's pounding away on the dogs, he's like shaking his body.
Is he?
Yeah. Helps the food settle, fill up the spaces better, evidently.
I am ashamed to say I'd never actually watched an eating contest before. I obviously knew it existed. I've heard of Joey Chestnut, but I watched this for the first time ever yesterday, and I was stunned and a little sickened to see what it actually is, which is these are a bunch of people who've literally trained themselves to work past their gag reflex because they're simply like stuffing hot dogs down their throat.
So before the hot dog contest, at same venue, they had the gallon of pink lemonade challenge. And some dude drank a whole gallon of lemonade in 30 seconds.
So, like, you literally watch them because how long do they get? Is it like 10 minutes?
I think so.
They get 10 minutes to eat as many hot dogs as they can. And they take these, like, periodic breaks. And if you're lucky, the camera gets in real close. And they just look like, you can see the indigestion starting already. And I just wanted to stop. I wanted to stop. Like, it's like one of those things where you wish you could stop time just so you could talk to one person. There was a point where Joey Chestnut is looking at the camera. He's close up. It's in the middle of it. He's probably already eaten 30 hot dogs in like 5 minutes. And he has one of those moments where he stops for it, takes a break, and you can see he's like, and I just want to be like, bro, is this worth it?
I just want to know approximately how many hot dogs he's eaten in his life. As a kid, I might have eaten that many in a year. As an adult, I don't think I'm approaching that.
Well, my wife makes fun of me because I like to eat hot dogs out of the package cold. As a snack, I'll just walk by and grab a hot dog.
That would be my lunch in grade school. Occasionally was like hot dog.
Just cold hot dog? Yeah.
In my lunchbox. So
yeah, I kind of dig that. Now, it's got to be an old-fashioned real hot dog, not one of them beef dogs. Those are gross cold. It's got to be the old-fashioned hot dog made out of parts.
Random parts.
Anyways, Joey Chestnut earned his 15th win of this event.
Eat dirt, Tom Brady.
He did not break his own record of 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes, but he did manage to eat 63.
So I remember when Joey Chestnut won his first one, beating Kobayashi. He did that for America and has held the title since.
He did it for America. Well, it is interesting to think about how many hot dogs this dude has eaten, because he's not a big dude.
No.
Like, that's the first thing you notice when you see all these people lined up for this eating contest. This very few of them are actually bigger guys. Mm-hmm. And the girl that won, the female that won, the Mudo, she's like, what, 100 pounds soaking wet? And you think, wait a minute, where's all this food going? Well, first of all, the scary part is like, this would be a sensitive question. Are they taking like some sort of stool softener or something after this? Because they're literally not chewing their food. Like, some of them will give these obligatory chews just to get it going, but they're not fully chewing their food. Like what do they tell you? You're supposed to chew like 20 times or something at least? Danny
Tanner told me this on Full House. I want to say it was like 25 times.
It's way too many.
Yeah.
But regardless, these people aren't chewing their food enough. I mean, that's when I say they're literally working. Like, the key, what I noticed was the key to being good at this was being able to work past your gag reflex, because that's what they're all doing. I mean, literally, they're all gagging up there. Like, you can see it on their face. And they dunk the hot dog in water. This is very unpleasant to talk about, I know. But they're dunking the whole thing in water and then, like, stuffing it. Literally stuffing with 2 hands.
It reminds me of the episode of The Office where Michael's trying to find his replacement, and they do that on the beach.
It's so awful. It was awful to watch, Cody. It was awful. And if you like gag watching other people gag, I highly recommend you do not watch the hot dog eating contest. So yesterday was this hot dog eating contest, the 2022 Nathan's Famous 4th of July hot dog eating contest. And as I was watching the intro and the build up to it, I was surprised to learn that while Joey Chestnut, who I'd heard of, is the best overall eater and the best hot dog eater,
America's hero,
as they were profiling some of the other guys, I found out that this guy, so-and-so, I don't remember his name. Maybe he had a mohawk. I don't know. No, it was another random. He looked like just someone's dad. Looked like just some guy's dad. He was a champion pizza eater and actually routinely beat Joey Chestnut in pizza eating competitions.
Eat dirt, Joe.
And I was surprised to learn that that's a thing. It's not just hot dog eating. It's pizza eating. It's just anything you could possibly imagine.
Yes, they have every food item imaginable, because there's chicken wings. There's like even the more, I guess, gross food items that you can eat contests. Oh man, there's too many.
It's such a weird thing to see and what play out, because I tend to eat too fast, so I've pretty much spent my whole life trying to program myself to slow down while eating, not speed up. I wonder if these people are at home eating breakfast in like 45 seconds.
Go through a whole pack of Eggo waffles.
Just because that's what they've trained themselves to do, is just eat really fast. Well, I imagine, so the girl specifically, I thought this is the most she eats. She doesn't eat, I bet she doesn't eat that much in a week for the rest of the year.
If she does the other competitive eating contests, she does.
Well, I mean, right. She probably does, because she was a multi-year champion. She even took time off to have a kid, and which was even impressive too, because you'd think with all the eating and then having a kid, I mean, that takes a while to get your body back to a place. Like, having been around women who've had kids, that's not an insult. It's just to say that that takes some work. And she just was like super little bitty.
I want to know how much they make.
Didn't they say? I thought they said it yesterday on the broadcast.
I didn't get to watch this year's live.
I think I'm getting it confused with something else, because I thought I'm thinking $5,000 and some dollars, but I may have been watching something else yesterday. I think it's more than that probably, which is still like, what? For eating?
I do that daily.
That's the thing with this whole thing, is Joey Chestnut's like the best ever. The hilarious thing is the way they walk out, the way they carry themselves. in these events, he's kind of looking like he's standing there like Kobe Bryant. And I'm just like, he looks like someone's dad. He's not. It's so weird how we do this.
I think that they learned from wrestling and circuses that it's all about the presentation.
Oh yeah.
The product itself, it's not always good. Because I've seen people upchuck on the broadcast, and it's like, ewy.
Sometimes they get a little reverse pressure.
Yeah. You know that watching someone gorge themselves to death might not be the best thing. And so it's like, okay, we got to have some show beforehand. You all go ham out there.
Yeah.
In your intros.
So once I went to a Royals game on Buck Night.
Oh, I love Buck Night.
Buck Night's amazing. Then basically you can get hot dogs and these little plastic cups of soda for $1. That where they used to do the soda. They may not do that anymore.
Soda's not a thing anymore. It's peanuts.
Peanuts? Okay. And I ate 16 hot dogs. But it was through the course. And listen, I was a lot younger. And I was in shape. And I did a lot of exercising. So I could just metabolize more. So I could that's why I ate more. Way more than I do now. But I ate 16 hot dogs over the course of 3 hours?
Yeah.
And I felt so bad afterwards. I felt so bad. Now my friend, he had 21 hot dogs and a chili cheese fry, and he barfed. He Ralphed. But I was really eating them.
You can't get chicken strips and French fries for $16 at a game anymore.
No, I consider that I would put that up there on achievements of my life. Eating 16 hot dogs at a Royals game and only spending, I probably spent less than $30 because I don't know how many cups of soda I had.
Well, you got to wash it down somehow.
In fact, I don't remember anything about the game. I couldn't tell you if we won, lost, whatever. We probably lost. If we're being honest, it was the Royals.
I assume.
But I don't remember anything about the game, but I remember eating 16 hot dogs.
Hero.
Some would say. Okay, we're not done talking about the hot dog eating contest because something out of the ordinary happened, Cody.
Oh.
Something out of the ordinary happened. In the middle of the contest, you've got 20 to 30 dudes up there on stage, all working past their gag reflexes heroically, like warriors.
Yes.
The absurdity. I would imagine someone to look on someone from another country's face watching this, seeing 30 dudes on stage just pounding hot dogs, all like, there's 30 of them all doing the same thing. And in the middle of this chaos, this person runs up on stage. They come up and they actually bump into Joey Chestnut, throwing off his rhythm. So not only did Joey Chestnut win, like always, he got distracted.
He did.
And once he realized it was a protester and someone that didn't belong on stage because they were wearing a black hood and they had a mask on and they had a sign that said "Expose Smithfield's Death Star." Once he realized that it was someone who didn't belong there, he stops eating. He puts his arm around their neck and just does a full takedown.
Yeah.
I mean, it was vicious. And then he went right back to...
One of the videos, because there was 2 or 3 different angles of it, did he just snap the guy's neck?
I mean, it was a pretty hard takedown.
Then the other ones made it look like he got him in a chokehold, but then the guy just slid down and was like, I'm going to get out of this before I die.
And so, it was just chaos, pandemonium. And in the middle of it, this person runs up on stage protesting something, which I'm going to get to. But I want you to appreciate the absurdity of all this, of 30 dudes on a long stage, all going past their gag reflexes intentionally.
Yeah.
And then someone coming up to protest, and the world's best ignorer of his gag reflex, pounding hot dogs, got bumped into by this person and did a full takedown of them and then went right back to eating and winning the hot dog eating contest.
I like to think this is what MJ would have done if someone tried to super glue their hand to the court.
Are you kidding? Boy, it's a good thing MJ didn't live now and play ball. He might have just killed somebody.
You don't get on MJ's bad side.
Listen, Michael Jordan, people don't understand. He's known as like just one of the bitterest dudes ever to play with, play against. And that's what drove him. I mean, there's a reason he was the best. Because he worked harder than everyone else. Because he was just, he was driven by bitterness. Obsessive.
There is a story that when he returned after retiring the first time, he came back to the Bulls and Steve Kerr said something.
And he punched him.
Punched
Steve Kerr. Side note, I used to love Michael Jordan when I was a kid. Man, this was not out of the realm of ordinary. A lot of kids wanted to be Michael Jordan. Man, I wanted to be Michael Jordan. I emulated the way he shot, the shots he took. I tried to perfect them, the turnaround jumper, the way he posted up, the way he pulled up off the dribble for a mid-range shot. I loved Michael Jordan. But as I've gotten older and I understand what drove him, what motivated him to work that hard, I can see now that like, oh yeah, I would never want my kids to emulate him. We talked a little bit about this when we talked about his sons and how much pressure that must have been.
Oh yeah.
And that his sons weren't nearly the basketball players that he was. And why that's probably a good thing.
No one can be level of intensity, I don't think.
Yeah. So that's just a side note. Let's go back to this protester. So this protester works their way up on stage during the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. They looked small. Joey Chestnut appeared to be the Hulk.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to this person who might have been, was it a female or was it just a small dude?
I think it was just a small dude.
Okay, because there was some reports that it might have been a girl. But Joey, in his defense, they were wearing a mask. You couldn't tell, and a hood. But he grabs them, wrestles them down. Now, they were holding a sign that said, "Expose Smithfield's Death Star." And so when I was watching this, I watched this live, Cody. I immediately Googled because I had to know what was so important that this person had to jump up on stage and protest in the middle of this traditional, huge July 4th event, the hot dog eating contest. It turns out Smithfield is a reference to Smithfield Foods, the manufacturer that produces Nathan's famous hot dogs. And they have been accused of, well, you know, doing what you do to produce food. They kill animals.
Spoilers.
Your hot dogs are made out of animal because, you know, it's meat.
It makes sense.
Here's what I don't understand. Bear with me on this. I don't understand the food thing. I'm going to get in trouble here because my mom works for the Humane Society of the United States, and they're big on this. They're big on like the animal stuff, as one does when you work for the HSUS. But I don't understand the protesting of animal meat food because I always want to. I'm always led to the same place. Like, do you know what they do to plants that you eat? Do you know the chemicals used on those? Do you know how that works? Literally everything we eat in this capitalist environment we've created has something bad attributed to it or done to it or does to the environment. So honestly, I want to go to people be like that protester. Like, what do you eat? What are you eating? Because I guarantee it's something bad. It's the same thing. It's the same conclusion I come to when we want to like protest Target or protest whatever because we don't like that they do this. And I'm like, literally every corporation probably does something you wouldn't agree with.
Either advertently or inadvertently. But the food protesters have been coming out of the woodworks because the NBA playoffs had them. Now Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest is having them. I think that if I was protesting, I wouldn't be protesting the fact about the hot dogs being made out of meat.
Yeah.
Now, if I was protesting, I'd be like one of the people on Twitter that was like 1 in 6 kids go to bed starving each night, and here we are watching someone partake in gluttony. That would be it. That would be where I would go to, but at the same point, I think that you're more showing your self-righteousness with a tweet like that.
Yeah, but it's always that. Because, like, listen, if you wanted to pick out stuff, you could literally pick out anything. Anything. And that's my problem. My problem is like there's something going on with all the food you eat. Like we have to, I say that coming from a small town in the middle of America where we want to go get good farm raised whatever, we can. If you're from a city on the coast and you're protesting any kind of food, I'm literally asking you the question, what are you eating? Well, I go to the organic food store on 110th Street. You know, like, yeah, it's organic the same way that bottled spring water is from a real spring, bro. Like, come on. This corporation's lying and evil and this one isn't? Man, people can be so naive, Cody.
Spoilers.
It's so naive. Everything you eat in this country, unless you're getting it straight from the farm, they probably do something you don't like.
Soylent Green is people.
Story time. When I was 12 or 13, I went to Yellowstone National Park with my aunt's family and my grandma. I just tagged along, and my cousins. And we went to Yellowstone, and of course, back then it was a lot of driving.
Oh, yeah.
And we were in a regular car. We were in like a big vehicle, so I was packed in the back seat with my cousins. And boy, it's just a long car ride, as we all remember from being kids in the 80s, if you were that old or before. We get to the park, and so we just stop at this little picnic spot. There was like a couple picnic tables and a grouping of trees. And we just took the chance to stop because Yellowstone's actually a big place. Isn't it like bigger than Rhode Island?
It's your story, and I'll go with it.
Right. So we get out of the car, and near the car is this stuffed bison.
Oh.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I'm like, hey, check this stuffed bison out that's just here in the park. And I go up and I pat it on the backside, and it moved. It was not a stuffed bison. It was a real bison, like a buffalo.
Young Dave could have been hurled like 50 feet in the air.
Look, listen, it twitched and it moved its tail, but it still didn't move. And I could tell by that time I could see his eyes were moving and looking at me. And so I backed away slowly, and we all kind of like got back in the car slowly because it was pretty near. I mean, it was like a good 20 to 30 feet away from the vehicle where we stopped.
Oh.
That was when we learned, if you go to Yellowstone, you understand that the animals are used to people. And so a lot of them don't have the same proclivity that other animals do of not wanting to get near people.
Although at Yellowstone, a group got too close to a bison.
That's what I'm working towards. So as Cody was referring to, as I hit my microphone.
As one does.
As Cody was referring to, I like to use my hands when I talk. I'm a hand talker, a motor. That's before we had emojis, we had our hands.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my hands. I was never like Ricky Bobby. I know exactly what I want to do with my hands when I'm talking, and that's emoting. But as Cody brought up, for the second time in 3 days over the weekend, a visitor to Yellowstone National Park was gored by a bison, park officials said. A 71-year-old woman from Westchester, Pennsylvania, and her daughter inadvertently approached the bison Wednesday as they were returning to their vehicle at a trailhead. The woman's injuries were not life-threatening, park officials said. But again, I think it's because people, like sometimes these bison, they're not moving. And you think, is this thing real?
I always assume it is.
I think it's safe to assume. I think if there was a park ranger sitting here right now, they'd be like, Dave, there are no fake animals in the park.
So I remember last year, I think it might have been 2 years ago. This group was close to a bison and a calf, and it got too close to the calf, and the mom bison charged and then hurled someone like 15 feet in the air. They had like a broken pelvis and a bunch of other nasty injuries.
Yeah, last Monday, a 34-year-old Colorado Springs, Colorado man who'd gotten too close to a bison near one of the geysers was thrown as he grabbed a child who was running away from the beast. And they both got up and ran away. On May 30th, a woman from Grove City, Ohio got within 10 feet of a bison before it gored and tossed. So she didn't even get real close, like super close. I guess that is super close. 10 feet. probably a little too close, but she actually got a puncture wound and other injuries.
Oh, yeah.
Bison, this article says the bison are wild and unpredictable, and visitors are asked to stay more than 25 yards away from them.
They can be mean. Evidently, people do not watch the Colorado buffalo run out onto the field before their football games, because that bison has drugged so many people across the field.
Do they still do that?
I don't think so, but they did forever and a day, well into my teens at least.
Yeah, they should really, that shouldn't be a thing. The University of Oklahoma should probably stop using the schooners.
Yeah.
The covered wagons, because that thing seems to tip over once every 10 years or so on the field, spilling out the people inside.
The Spartan for USC probably shouldn't have a real sword.
The Notre Dame leprechaun, just because he probably gets punched. Hey, everybody. Dave here. Thank you for listening to our little odds and ends, our leftovers of our radio show podcast. This is just a little filler pod that we give you guys to tide you over to the main pods that come out every Friday morning. So thank you for listening. If you like or want to hear more of our radio show, if you're into Christian music, if that sort of thing is your bag, but maybe you're tired of what the Christian music stations play you, you'll find something different on the station we're on. It's called KFEX 93.1 Firescape Radio. It's part of a youth ministry here in the town that we're in, and we invite you to listen. It's something new. We play a lot of indies. I don't know if you know this, but we're actually living in the golden age of Christian music right now. And most people don't know it because you're used to thinking, oh, Christian music, well, there's less talent in Christian music than there is secular. But that's actually not the case anymore. There's lots and lots of talented people making music who are Christians. But because of the way Christian radio works, the bigger stations, they only play about the same 15 to 20 artists kind of over and over again. Well, that's why we have our station, KFEX. So if that interests you and you want to hear more of us, right now our morning show it's in the morning. That might change soon, but we'll let you know if that does. If you want to listen to it anyways, go to www.kfex931.com. Or you can download our app on your iPhone or your Android phone. It'll be in the app stores of those respective devices. Just go in there, search KFEX. You will find our app, and you can listen to us anywhere in the world. Right there. So give it a shot. We'd love for you to do that. Also, while we're talking about the pod, make sure you're subscribing to the pod and give us a rating, give us a review, give us a little write-up. That helps the visibility so that more people can discover the pod. And the more people that discover the pod and listen, the more things we can do. There's so much more that Cody and I want to do. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.